الشيعة أكثرهم في إيران. ليش؟ لأنه عمر بن الخطاب كسر بخشومهم وأذلهم، يعني إمبراطورية عظيمة مثل الفرس يجون مثل ما نقول عرب أجلاف على البعران يفلشوها. هذه بناك تبقى يعني سنة سنتين تروح، ما تروح، مئات السنين تظل كراهية باقية. ولهذا أعداء الشيعة إيران مو أبو بكر ولا خادم وليد، عمر، دائما عمر، يلعنون عمر. ليش؟ ورتبوا عليه شنو؟ أنه كسر ضلع الزهرة حتى يعطوه في طابع ديني، ولا كسر ضلع الزهرة ولا ما يسمى واقعا. فالعجم حقهم مو سهلة، امبراطورية كاملة يفلشها. اسكندر ما فعل هيك، اسكندر احتل ايران كلها ورا عدة اشهر انسحب وخلاهم على دينهم. دول العرب ايش سووا بيهم؟
Example of this was the Byzantine client state, the Khashanids, and the Sassanid client state, the Lakhmids. These client states served as a buffer zone against the southern Arab raiders, and both these countries were Arab in origin. But the Hassanids were Christian Arabs, whereas the Lakhmids aimed to unite all the Arabs under one kingdom. In fact, Imru al-Gaish, ruler of the Lakhmids, claimed the title of King of all Arabs. This vision of Arab unity would not be realized for centuries until the rise of Islam and the consolidation of the Rashidun Caliphate in 632. Once the Caliphate was established, the Lakhmids were quick to join their Arab brethren. But this made the Sassanids very anxious, because they had just lost their buffer zone and client state. And so the Sassanid rulers decided to stir up rebellions in the region. This provocation led to the declaration of a jihad against the Sassanid Persian Empire by Khalid Umar. At the time, this seemed like an ant declaring war against a lion, and this is how the Persians mistakenly perceived it. Basically, the Caliphate commanders understood where to strike and choke their Persian opponents, and equally important, they understood where to avoid the Persians. This was contrary to how the Persians prepared for war. The Persian commanders looked down on the Arabs, and they viewed the Sassanid army as invincible. After all, they had much better equipment and a larger manpower. In all their glory and pride, the Sassanids had completely underestimated the Arabs and overestimated themselves. When the jihad was declared, the Caliph Umar gave his best general the task of conquering Tisfun, the capital of the Sassanid Empire. General Khalid ibn Alwaleed entered the Persian Empire with just 18,000 troops. And despite being heavily outnumbered, Khalid managed to gain a number of decisive victories that left the Persian army crippled. Now, Khalid was a general that performed best when outnumbered. One of his strategies was the use of deception. He would completely rearrange the position of his troops at night and equip those troops with new banners. He would also order his cavalry to retreat behind hills or in forests, and when the fighting would continue the next day, the troops would march from a distance, and the cavalry would run in circles, raising as much dust as they could. And this all gave the impression that Arab reinforcements were coming, and it demoralized the Persian troops, and in some cases even routed entire armies. General Khalid managed to outmaneuver his Persian opponents on every turn. Khalid was able to quickly conquer most of Mesopotamia. In just 1 year, the Arabs had conquered something that the Byzantines could not manage for centuries. And before Khalid could lay siege to the Sassanid capital, Umar ordered him to transfer to the Byzantine front in Syria. This gave the Sassanids some time to recover, and they regained control over the lost lands. But it didn't last long. 3 years later, the Arabs returned with an even larger army. The new Arab general to the Persian front, Sa'id ibn Abi Gawaz, led an army of 30,000 troops, and the first battle between the Arabs and the Persians was also the most decisive. The